Will what his first impression was. What was your first impression the first time you walked in there?
Well, I'd kind of seen it along the way, but, certainly it's very nice. I mean, I think it has the wow factor that what you look for in recruiting, and it's going to be very usable for our team. We got a lot of their input when we were designing it and making the plans, and I think the contractors and everybody involved did a great job with it. Certainly a showplace.
It was a kind of pet project for a long time for you to get an upgraded locker room.
Yeah, we talked about this morning when the team walked through. We've been working on this for probably 5 years.
What was your reaction when you saw the players' reaction to the locker room?
Excited for them. I kind of thought that's what it would be, because they had not had a chance to come in, and certainly the one we were in was very dated, and they've gone through during the transition. They've had to, they've been in the visitors' locker down off the weight room and kind of suffered through. So I was happy for them that they get in, and it'll take them a while to figure it out. I'm not sure I can figure all the gadgets and all the stuff out, but just excited for them. I think it'll be good for the program for a long time to come.
You mentioned that you been asking for this for about 5 years now. When was the first time you thought, hey, it's going to happen?
When Todd got here, I think, and he saw the locker room and realized that how far behind we were in facilities and all those type of things, and I really appreciate his leadership in it, and I think, as I've said before, I think he gets it. I think he understands what we need to be able to compete, and he's working hard to help get us back on that level.
How important is this for recruiting?
Well, it's huge. I think that, there's a lot of things involved in recruiting, but there's certainly, you talk to all the experts in recruiting. We had a seminar yesterday with some guys, and they'll tell you the wow factor is big, especially with this generation. So we, don't have a lot of wow factors on campus as far as facilities, and certainly this will give us another one.
What's next on your wish list?
Oh, I think there's a lot of things. I think we need to redo the weight room. We've fallen behind there. Long term or short term, we really need an academic center, learning center that sets aside facility wise would be great. As long as you've got to be doing something all the time, because if you're standing still, you're falling behind. And we didn't do anything probably for 5 or 6 years.
When you say 5 years ago, is that when you first started thinking you wanted a new one, or is that when that we're process of getting a new one actually?
Well, I knew that we needed a new one when I came. I've been here 10 years, but certainly with recruiting, with the competition, and with the people we recruit against and play against, as they start to build new facilities and do those kind of things, if you don't keep up, you just get further and further behind. And a place like this locker room is not going to all of a sudden just totally change recruiting, but it's going to help a great deal when guys come in, and first impressions are important. And when you walk in here, this looks like something that you would expect to see at a Georgia Tech. I mean, it's eye-popping, and I think you get a little wow factor out of it.
When you've had recruits in previously, naturally they saw the rendering of what the place was going to look like.
You can only recruit off of rendering for so long.
Yeah, I mean, how much of more of a wow factor will it be for them once they actually see it?
Oh, I think it will be. Even our freshmen who came in, and the seniors were telling them today how lucky they are, and how fortunate. And how Brad Stewart was joking with me. He said, "Coach, you got a red shirt with me this year. I need one more year." Hopefully this is just the start of catching up facility-wise and doing the things that we need to do. If we want to compete at the top level, these are the things you got to do.
I imagine for you as a coach, it's exciting to kind of start to see this come to fruition, the
Yeah.
ideas that you have and what you'd like to see.
I'm happy for the players. They deserve it. I mean, it's going to be a place, and in their lockers, they've got things where they can plug up their stuff. And I don't know if you guys saw Brentavious' locker. He's already got his picture. He's figured out how to get his action. They're going to figure out all kinds of things that I have no idea how to do. But one of the freshmen was sitting there this morning, and he was listening to music at his locker. He plugged in through his phone, and I think it's going to be neat for those guys, and I think they'll spend a lot of quality time in here.
Anything else for Coach?
Is it kind of one of those college football is a funny game. College in just sports is generally just kind of a funny thing in that uniforms and locker rooms matter in the scheme of
More than people would think.
yeah.
And a lot of times in recruiting, you know, what kids say matters really don't matter. And a lot of the intangibles do matter. You know, I can't tell you how many times, you know, we'll have some kids say, well, education is really important, education is really important, and they'll end up picking a school that would probably, on a scale, if you measure them, would be the worst they could go to education. But I think that these things, facilities are huge in recruiting, next to the people and, you know, the branding and that kind of thing. That's what kids look at.
And the coaches get the same treatment?